They ignored her until she was gone, and by the time they realized what they had lost, it was too late, because the woman they had overlooked, belittled, and dismissed had already walked away from the home that once echoed with her unappreciated love and sacrifice, and though she left quietly, without anger or loud words, she carried with her the invisible scars of years of being treated as if she were nothing, and while those she left behind went on with their lives, assuming she would return as she always had, they didn't understand that this time was different. This time she wasn't coming back to them, because life had given her a second chance, one she never thought she deserved, and as the days turned into months, the family that ignored her began to notice the emptiness in the small things. The meals no longer cooked with care, the clothes not folded neatly, the gentle touch absent from the children's brows when they were sick, the laughter gone from the corners of the house, and at first they brushed it off, thinking she would soon walk back through the door, apologizing for leaving, but as weeks stretched into months, silence replaced expectation, and regret settled like a shadow that refused to leave, for they began to realize that the woman they thought was ordinary had been the heart of their lives, and in their blindness, they had torn that heart away. She, on the other hand, found herself in a place she never imagined, among strangers who, instead of dismissing her, saw her worth, valued her words, and treated her with kindness that felt foreign at first but soon became her new home. And slowly, this woman who had once been invisible learned to smile again, learned that her tears were not weakness but proof that she had loved deeply, and in that new circle, she was not the forgotten one, she was the cherished one, and with every passing day, her spirit that had been crushed under years of neglect grew stronger, brighter, until she began to bloom into someone entirely new, someone she had buried long ago beneath duty and silence. And then, one day, fate brought her back into the presence of the family who had once ignored her, and they could hardly recognize her, for gone was the weary, bowed figure they had taken for granted, and in her place stood a woman graceful and radiant, surrounded by a new family who looked at her with admiration and love, and in that moment, the old family felt the weight of their loss crash over them like a storm, because they realized she no longer belonged to them. She had found people who filled the void they had created, and though they tried to call her name, to reach for her, she only smiled a distant smile, not of revenge but of peace, for she had forgiven them but she would never again allow herself to be diminished, and the lesson lingered in the air heavier than any punishment, that sometimes the greatest revenge is not anger, not shouting, but simply living well with those who value you, because nothing hurts more than realizing you ignored someone until they were gone, only to watch them come back with a new life, a new family, and a love far greater than the one you ever gave.